It's the Security Weekly News. I'm Doug White, and it is episode 487 as this beast slouches toward Bethlehem to reach episode 500. And it's the Security Weekly News. It's Friday, the 20th of June. Welcome to the show. We got donut holes, clickfix, rapperbots, bad devs, war. Doug rants about backups, and more on this episode of the Security Weekly News.
This is a Security Weekly production for security professionals by security professionals. Please visit securityweekly.com/subscribe to subscribe to all the shows on our network.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
It's the show that keeps you up to date on the latest security news twice a week. Your trusted source for accurate security information and expert analysis. It's time for the Security Weekly News. Imagine a world where every threat, ransomware, supply chain attacks, zero-day exploits, is stopped before it can even begin. ThreatLocker makes that world a reality with a zero-trust approach to cybersecurity. By giving you granular control on every executable that can happen in your environment, ThreatLocker protects your business around the clock. No more guessing, no more gaps, just rock-solid protection that keeps your operations running smoothly and your data secure. Discover how ThreatLocker's least privilege approach can safeguard your organization against known and unknown threats. Take the first step toward total peace of mind. Visit securityweekly.com/threatlocker today. All right, it's the Security Weekly News. I'm Doug White. Hit that like and subscribe button and leave a comment or I'm leaving. I'm packing up and moving to Mexico City to do interpretive dance about the Sumerian Empire. That's it. Yeah, so get on it. All right. Microsoft has announced that it will begin updating security defaults for all Microsoft 365 tenants in July. It said mid-July. And it's going to block access to SharePoint, OneDrive, and Office files via any legacy auth protocols. So that rollout does start in mid-July. They said it would be completed for everyone by August. So anything that uses RPS, which is that relaying party suite, and FPRPC, which is the front page remote procedure call. I mean, those are old, right? And I mean, remember front page? I think I built a web page for that had Mr. Cat on it. So like 2007 or something like that. So both of those protocols are vulnerable to brute force and phishing attacks. Although I would definitely say saying that they're vulnerable to phishing attacks is kind of like, isn't everything vulnerable to phishing attacks? But they are vulnerable to brute forcing, but they do use old authentication approaches. The new standards will also require admin consent for third-party apps if you want to access files and sites, or that if the apps want to. They did. So I mean, in the enterprise, this admin control is usually managed, hopefully by you, and you don't just give all your users admin ability, because if you do, they just click OK on everything. But they did attach a document to this article that has information about how best to configure that admin control to prevent your users from just clicking OK on every single third-party app that comes along. So you probably should do some testing now before this rolls out. And if you have legacy apps that access Microsoft 365 files and so forth, you may want to check on that, because you don't want to have that bad day, right, where just everything stops. Clickfix attacks surge. Okay. But this article's headline was ClickFix attacks surge as exploits see a drop in popularity. Okay. So first of all, if you don't know what a ClickFix scam is, it's more of a social engineering oriented attack, which makes a lot of sense to me. And what they're basically saying is that we're seeing more move away in the total number of attacks than 0 days and exploit, because getting access through social engineering and phishing is so much easier and doesn't rely on something that's going to get patched the minute it's uncovered, right? So we're seeing time to patch going down. And the minute a 0 day is revealed, all of your efforts are going to go south. So why not use social engineering? I mean, what's the weakest link, right? And the weakest link is humans. And then Windows, but first it's humans. I mean, and I know you never fall for scams, but somebody will, And so ReliaQuest said that social engineering attacks, most notably clickfix attacks, now make up the majority of observed attack scams alongside of phishing emails. So the two easiest things to do continue to persist to be the most effective. And it makes sense. I mean, of course, this statistically, this starts to sound, like, well, there's more of these and, on and on. But so a click fix is a term, if you aren't familiar with it, that can be a lot of different things. But the most popular one currently is a click fix CAPTCHA. And so what this basically does is they put a web page up, get you to go there somehow. And then the CAPTCHA box is not an actual CAPTCHA box, but when you click it, something happens. Maybe it pops up and it asks you to click something else. Maybe it pops up and says, when you answer the CAPTCHA and click OK, that actually doesn't do what you thought it did. And it opens another app. It takes you to another site. It pops up another box that says Windows update needed in order to proceed. And, all these things that get users frustrated and distracted because that's when they click OK. It's like, oh, you need a Windows update if you want to go ahead. And it's like, okay, this is a letter from my boss. I need to check it. And it's got a CAPTCHA, so it's probably legit. You click the CAPTCHA box, another box pops up and says, oh, you have a Windows vulnerability. Click here. And that's it, right? I mean, then it's over. So, how many people would just click a CAPTCHA box? I mean, you think about your users, think about yourself. How often do you go to a site, it has a CAPTCHA box and you click it? Now, maybe you would click the next step. If I click one and it immediately throws up another message, I'm like, uh-oh. But apparently the attackers particularly like the MSHTA code, which is the Windows executable that runs HTML apps. And they said the use of that MSHTA code as a vector has grown from 3.1% to 33% of all defense evasion attempts this year. So that's a lot. And that means that they're utilizing this to create executables that are HTML app based, and they're going to run with whatever permissions that MSHTA code execute or whatever that Windows executable is running. So that could be a big problem. And, the more we're trained to click a box all the time to get what we want, the faster we click the box to get to the cocaine, according to those cocaine mice experiments. It's just like, push this button, get cocaine. It's like, okay. I've known some people that were like that. And the more you push, click OK on these boxes, the more likely you are to just click them. Now, in this case, the cocaine is, maybe TikTok or a PDF from your boss or whatever. But the point's the same. We get numb to clicking things, and it becomes even easier to get old Gil to click that familiar box to get the goods. So be warned. This one was killing me. A survey of devs who use AI found that 42% said that at least half of their code base is AI generated. Okay, fine. I mean, I'm not going to get worked up about that. I would guess that number is going to go up dramatically in the next few years. 67%, this is where I started getting upset. 67% said they review the AI generated code before they deploy. What? So 33% of you devs are insane. I mean, 33% of these respondents said they did not even review the code. They just generate it and throw it out there and say, hey, hey, AI friend, could you whip up some magic UI for our suckers? Or customers? Yes, oh mighty one, here it is. Compile, push, done, time for drinking tequila. And filling out surveys. And admitting to doing something almost crazy. But I get it, right? I've been a dev. I get it. You need that. The deadline's coming up in 17 minutes that marketing promised on Friday morning at 9 a.m. This would push. And if it's not there, oh my God, and everybody's getting fired. And the next thing you know, you've got some AI cranking out code for you. And you just say, push it, commit, and you're screwed. 79.2% said that they believe AI will exacerbate open source malware threats. So wait, that means that 12.2%, and I know that's not exactly how statistics work, but I'll show you the numbers in a second. 12.2% didn't review code, but believe AI code will exacerbate open source malware threats. So I'm like, oh, I mean, that's some good old driving down a back road in Texas in a 1968 Chevelle with no seatbelt and a Lone Star Tallboy in one hand and an unfiltered Pall Mall in your mouth and just pushing it to the floor as the fog gets thicker. Wee, old school. I mean, this was from a survey of 307 participants in the Cloudsmiths Artifact Management Report for 2025. There's not a huge sample size, but 33%, these people that apparently don't review AI generated code is 101 of these people. I mean, it's like a third. And so 101.31 people in this survey don't review AI generated code, but it makes up half their code base. 243 of the people said that it was going to be a big problem. So at least some of the devs qualify as crazy. I mean, 20% said the fully trusted AI outputs, 20%, this was, I guess, a different question. 20%, a fifth, said they fully trusted the AI outputs without any scrutiny. I'm like, wow, I've got some swampland in Florida to sell. Yeah. I was just, that just shocked me. I mean, I was like, now my grandfather smoked Winston cigarettes like a chimney, literally cut the seat belts out of all of our cars because he said they were dangerous and would possibly strangle you. And yeah, he might have had a few drinks too. Personally, I think he was less risky than the devs who are saying, I fully trust AI, never review the code, and we just go. Oh, and if you wondered, yeah, it was lung cancer. So, yeah. All right. Now, I'm not getting involved in politics. I try not to. I know some of you love Team Gamma and some of you love Team Epsilon, and some of you are willing to beat a member of Team Sigma to death with your bare hands because they disagreed with you on whether bread and butter pickles are real pickles or just horribly squishy cucumber desserts. But from the security perspective, the Israeli military offense, which is called Operation Rising Lion, which is targeting Iran, has resulted in it. And I'm not saying yay or nay. No politics. I will leave that to the rest of you to fight it out in bars everywhere. But Operation Rising Lion and targeting Iran is resulting in a large increase in hacktivism on all sides. So this is what I'm talking about. Now, remember, there's a lot of sides here. I mean, it's can I say this? A rhombicosidodecahedron. Yeah, you can look that up if you want to. But I mean, there's just that many sides, right? I mean, there may be so many sides. Maybe it's even turning into a tesseract. We can't even understand it in 3 dimensions. But beyond all the politics and the suffering and kinetic warfare and bombs and guns and tanks and planes and all this stuff, what it does mean for us is that we likely need to be thinking about raising our security posture as well. Now, Israel is launching cyber attacks against Iran. Iran is launching cyber attacks against Israel. Again, no politics. I'm not going to say one's right, one's wrong. I'm just staying out of it. But Iran has now pulled their internet down, and they're directing their citizens, among other things, to use Starlink, owned by Elon. I'm like, wait, what? Okay, I won't even go after Elon today. But the article has a lot of detail about all these attacks and back and forth. But whatever your team, whatever group you decided to support, whatever you believe, whoever you want to get in slap fights with, this stuff, these attacks, these hacktivism attacks have a tendency to leak out of the arena and into the surrounding virtual world, both directly, like, hey, does your airline fly to Grand Fenwick? Well, we're coming after you too. Or indirectly, as these tools and techniques leak, and or somebody releases, a new Morris worm on one of the other teams, and it becomes, spreads across the globe or what have you. And so a lot of this is very complex. It ranges from Kohlbergian pre-conventionalists to Kohlbergian post-conventionalists who believe they answer to higher powers and whatnot. So be cautious. Maybe consider your threat level awareness and your monitoring, because this could get really nasty from a purely virtual perspective. So hic sunt draconis, if you're up on your Latin. All right. Now, when I was in high school, we got stuck selling Krispy Kreme donuts to raise money. And Particularly, they were trying to get us to get people to sign up for weekly deliveries. So here was little Doug, junior programmer, driving around in a 1977 MGB with 50 boxes of donuts in the back. There was no back seat, but there was kind of a ledge. And, it was cute. It made the car smell good too for a while till you forgot that you put some of those donuts in the boot and they rotted. And of course, after a while, even the good smell of the donuts started to get gross. You were so sick of smelling these donuts. And pretty soon these customers who signed up, I'll take 12 boxes a week, anybody, were like going, no, just keep them. We can't eat them anymore. And then Stan died everything smelled like them. Now they're good donuts. So don't get me wrong. Let me run down Krispy Kreme donuts because as donuts go, they're really good. And when I was a kid, they had this factory that wasn't that far from my home, and they fried the donuts on these big belts, and they went down in these big giant vats of boiling lard. It was really scary looking, but boy, the donuts they were really good. They never quite tasted the same after they quit using lard though. But now their customer base tends to live past 50. But anyway, Krispy Kreme said that an attack on the donut maker affected 161,676 people in a data breach. Okay. We don't report that many data breaches because what's the point? But what got interesting about this was the amount of info this donut shop, and it's a chain. So it used to be like a very regional chain, but it's all over the place now. You walk into an airport in Indonesia and there's a Krispy Kreme donut or something like there. But here's what they said was released. I don't want to read the whole list. It's so long. Name, social security numbers, date of birth, driver's license, bank accounts, credit cards, passport numbers, digital signatures, biometric data, pretty much everything about you. And the list went on and on and on. It was down to stuff like, hat sizes and everything. Remember that time you had that strange rash after you spent the night at that house up on Laurel Avenue? Yeah, they got that too. Why did this donut maker have all this military ID numbers, health insurance info? At first I thought, well, maybe it's employees, and you would have all that about employees, but apparently not. Maybe you have to fill out a health form before you order Dirty Bert's Dirty Gross of 144 cream-filled donuts. Huntress said that this place was collecting way more information than was needed to sell donuts. Maybe they were selling your insurance and your health info to insurance company. You go, yeah, you probably don't want to insure this guy. He comes in 4 times a day. But why did they have biometric scans and digital signatures? Was this like stuff people are agreeing to or customer loyalty information? And why did the customers give this up? You got to really want a donut. They come in and they go, yeah, we're going to need a biometric scan of your, your DNA. And how about a digital signature too? Yeah. You want this cruller? You're going to have to beg for it. Maybe people did, but the breach is from last year. But Krispy Kreme, knows way more about you than they should. And apparently they know a lot more about boiling lard than about securing data. I don't think they use lard anymore. So sorry, guys. But I think they used to. Anyway, my mother used lard to fry donuts. Hers were better. I'm going to tell you. All right. So I saw this and I had to mention it because it was just one of those, I don't know, we'll call it tech porn kind of things. It was just like, wow. 7.3 terabits per second. That's pretty serious, right? Just in no other context, like 7.3 terabits per second. I'm like, okay, that's fast. But this is the new record for a distributed denial of service per Cloudflare yesterday. So the attack was detected in mid-May of 2025, and it targeted some unnamed hosting provider. And the attack delivered 37.4 terabytes in 45 seconds. Wow. It still takes 5 minutes to download the latest episode of Rick and Morty, and these guys delivered 37.4 terabytes in 45 seconds. Don't tell me we can't do better. But back in January, they were talking about this. They had a 5.6 terabit per second attack that was aimed at an ISP from Eastern Asia. Now, that attack came from a Mirai variant botnet in 2024. In April of 2025, Cloudflare said they defended against a 6.5 terabit per second attack that came from an 11 bot made up of 30,000 webcams and 40 and video recorders, and it lasted 49 seconds. Now, I'm not totally sure I understand why these, denial services only last like 49 seconds. Is it a distraction? I mean, it's not going to really cause you any great distress, right? If you're down for, maybe it gets mitigated in 49 seconds. I don't know. But this latest one, though, just plastered 21,925 destination ports on a single IP owned by a hosting provider with a peak hit of 34,517 ports per second. Damn. I mean, I wonder if my Cisco 2621 router can handle that. I mean, this was a combination of UDP floods, QOTD reflections, echo reflections, NTP reflections, Mirai UDP floods, port map floods, RIP version 1 amplification attacks, and so forth. But the main part of it was the UDP flood. It was 99.996% of the attack. Now, the attacks originated from 122,145 source addresses across 161 countries. So guess what? This is a rapperbot. Right. I mean, that's what this is. And it's just like another kind of Mirai. So I guess this is how normal people react to sports. Like I'm sorry. I'm not running you down if you love sports. I just don't get it. I mean, did you see the Pingers crush the Jugglers last night? Well, I'm like, I don't care. I mean, you may care, but I don't care. But, I guess I'm following the bandwidth rapperbots personally. Like, did you see the rapperbots crush that ISP last night? Oh, baby, at 49 seconds, pow. Yeah, exactly. All right. This story was interesting to me, and I can't decide. I mean, it was a BBC story, so I don't feel like it was just some like New York Post, boy in a subway story. And maybe it was just badly written, or maybe I just didn't. Maybe it was badly read. Ooh. I guess Meta is having to pay out big bucks to get people, according to Sam Altman at OpenAI. Now, according to Sam, many members of Sam's team have been getting giant offers to go over to Zuck's shop at Meta. Okay, well, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. But he said that they're getting $100 million signing bonuses. And I said, what? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, I get it that Meta's got cash, but $100 million signing bonus? I couldn't decide if he meant like overall they put that much money into some kind of signing bonus pool, or are they just calling people up and go, hey, Dave, I heard you were an AI coder, and, listen, I know half your code base is AI generated and that you fully trust AI, but how about $100 million to come over to Meta? I mean, Meta did just recently spend $14 billion with a B to buy 49% of a startup called Scale AI. So maybe they just got so much money it doesn't matter anymore. It's like it would be like me giving somebody a $5 tip for a cab ride, and they're just like, "How about $100 million? I don't know. How about 125?" I mean, Altman did say, and so this is where it started to sound sketchy. Altman said no one had taken the offer yet, so it started to sound like bro speak, right? They're like, "Yeah, they offered each of my employees $100 million. The janitor, $100 million. Guy cleans the water fountains, $100 million." And guess what? Not one single one of them. They all turned it down. And I don't pay them anything. I give them $50 a year and they like it. I mean, I don't know. But, so I don't know what he was really getting at. But I mean, if one of you want to call me up and offer me $100 million signing bonus to come do something for you, well, it's either a scam or I'm probably going to have to do some things I really don't want to do. But, $100 million, I probably can fit into a chipmunk costume if that's what you're looking for. But I mean, anyway, so the story goes on then to talk about tech bros, and it started all sort of and I was like, oh, I see. They're just yapping. But I mean, they were talking about tech bros, and they're all trying to, one up each other, a la Mountainhead, if you've seen that movie, Zuck and Elon want to fight each other in a cage match kind of stuff. So maybe it's just more taunting, shield pounding, nerd slap fight stuff. I don't know, but $100 million signing bonus, can code, will travel, has own spacesuit and chipmunk suit. Call me. Well, Aaron took a slow boat to China and is gallivanting around somewhere, so it's just little old me today. I thought I would talk a little more about backup stuff. So this came out of a story which really got me again ranting about this. So I'm just going to rant about it a little more. So a new flaw in Veeam How I have never heard to say that. Veeam, sponsor my show and tell me, and I'll say it any way you want. Resulted in updates being released this week to fix a remote code execution problem in Veeam backup and replication. And we're all pretty familiar with Veeam, I think, except how to pronounce it. Watchtower and CodeWhite released this flaw, and they said it only impacts domain joined installations. Now, the vulnerability can be exploited by any local domain users with a low complexity attack to get code execution remotely on the backup server, which of course is bad. And it affects Veeam backup and replication 12 or later. So patch up. Okay. But this is a good time to talk a little bit more about your backup plans. Remember that 32110 thing I was talking about on Tuesday? The zip code for Bunnell, Florida, or Bunnell. I don't know how to say it. I'm terrible. However, I'm saying it's probably wrong. Bunnell, Florida. Now, this was this thing I was talking about. It means you need 3 copies. So a live and 2 backups, 2 backup formats, 1 offsite backup, 1 immutable backup, and 0 errors. I did not make this up, so I don't know who made it up, but you really need to understand that ransomware gangs want to destroy all these things at once so that single Colorado Systems tape that you overwrite every night, becomes a really big target. So not only should you remember the 32110 zip code, but you should be testing these things quarterly. That's the 0 error part. I mean, just what is your time horizon for backups? Do you need a backup every 5 minutes because your transaction load is so high? Do you need some kind of rolling backups, or can you go back to yesterday and you'll be fine, or last month or last year? I don't know. But you got to just literally do this. Pick your biggest data array right now and ask yourself, what if it just disappeared? That 250,000 customer database that we have in Oracle, poof, just like a TARDIS vanishing into the future. What's your next move? Like right now, this is how we used to do disaster recovery planning for people. I walk in, I'd say, okay, here's what just happened. What's your next move? And, I got a lot of blank stares sometimes. I mean, were your backups in that array too? Were all your backups on the same hypervisor alongside their sources, and the hypervisor just exploded in a shower of sparks because, and it was filled with rabid scorpions, so you can't even go in there now? I mean, what's your next move? Now let's test that. You tell me, I'm going to call Dave. It's like, okay, let's call Dave. So you don't just do one of those lame tabletop things. And people do this, and I've seen it. They go, what do? We restore the backup. And they check a box, and they go, backup has been restored. And that's fine. I don't have any problem with that kind of tabletop exercise, but don't let that be your only test. Actually test it. Ensure you can restore it and have clear plans for that. Because to me, backups are like the plan you have when the world is burning and your hair is on fire. I saw all these people that had go bags in their office. They had tents and food and all kinds of crazy stuff. But when, you told them that thing about the main array that had all the backups on it too, they didn't have a go bag. They didn't have anything. They were like, maybe call Dave. I'm not sure. I mean, I think you should have a red book or a black book or whatever you want to call it, and it's in a safe, and it could be virtual, but don't put it on the same array. I've seen it so many times where people are like, the backups are on this, and they're separate domains, and they're separate VLANs, and I'm like, but those are all in the same physical box, right? So if that box gets wiped out by, something weird, so you need something you can get to when chaos strikes that has a fully tested restore script that even a trained giraffe or old Gil from marketing could manage to run. Because you may have to hire me, and have me fly in and go, look, everybody else is gone. I'm like, when you say gone, what do you mean? What are those chalk outlines? You're like, don't worry about that, but could you get us back online? It probably should have things like master passwords. I've been involved in these kind of restore situations, and the people did not know the master passwords, and they could not get them. And then you're like, okay, well, I guess we can try to crack them, but it may take a long, long time. I mean, it's a very dangerous book, so you may want to bind it in human skin or something. Try organichumanskin.com. They have really good quality human skin at reasonable prices. I don't go to that website. I don't own that domain, so I don't know where it goes, and it might be somewhere really bad. But I was just always shocked at people that have this. So here's a little quick exercise for you right now. Create a single virtual machine. Have it, run something small but fun like SUSE or Mint. You don't spend a lot of time on it. Make one single file in the /home/uh-oh directory or whatever you want containing the word Croatoa, and that's it. Now follow your backup plan, start to finish. I mean, just literally do it. Back that thing up, however you normally would, and then delete it. And try to follow your plan to restore it. Did you get it back? Good. It was easy. It was right there on the same array. Now pretend that the hardware you're using is actually gone. I mean, half the building went into a sinkhole from to hell, like Sunnydale or something. Now you're standing in a FEMA tent. I don't think they let you have those anymore. I think you have to pay for them by the minute or something. But, and you're over in the next counties, like while the Army fights some sort of chimera that's half dung beetle, half moth, and it's the size of the Chrysler building. And you need to be back up and running within 12 hours, or that's going to be it for the whole operation. Now try and restore that VM again from there. Where's it going? How will you access it? And I hope those original backups were not all stored in the basement or that little top window room of the Woolworth building, where I've always wanted to go if someone ever wants to give me a nice gift. Now you can't get to them. So 32110. Do you have them all? Can you get to them in a timely fashion? And do you have a way to restore them and a place to restore them to? 32110. That's 7D, 6E, and hex if you prefer hex. Doesn't make much sense in hex, but maybe that will just help you remember it. Or just remember Bunnell, Florida. It's northeast of Orlando off I-95 near Flagler Beach, population 3276. Don't know what that is in hex off the top of my head, but I could do it in a few seconds, but I won't take the time. But the number is important. It's like that blanket and shovel and cross-country ski set you have in your roof rack and you never use it. And then that tanker flips in Idaho Springs and you're really glad you have all that stuff plus the fire starter and the extra food. And, you get to sit on the side of I-70 for about 8 hours as the temperature goes down to minus 20 Fahrenheit. Yeah. So back up the backup and back up the backup of the backup, and then move a copy off site. Hell, hide a copy in the Bunnell Masonic Lodge basement where you have to attach a gemstone to the top of a 4-cubit long staff and stand facing 93 degrees on the roof of the old city hall next to Lake Lucille. Then the sun will show you which flagstone to pry up. And don't forget that quarterly test and that immutable copy that's etched into palladium microalloy glass that will outlive the expected lifespan of the universe. Amen. That was an awful lot from that short story. Boy, I went too long. Sorry. I'll do this quick. I did see this, and it was just about people being able to inject fake phone numbers into browsers when somebody's visiting an official site. Malwarebytes laid this out last week, and it wasn't as dramatic as I expected, but basically it was just an extension of the old help desk scan. And it's not that it's not bad, but so we constantly advise people not to click links or take calls, but rather, go to the official website and verify numbers. Okay, well, here you go. Basically, the way they do this is nothing clever. It's not some new exploit. They buy Google ads on those pages that say things like, call us for free, and put a number up. So you search for Apple tech support, and the number is right there on the top of the screen, and you call it. And they're like, hello, Apple tech support, happy to help you now. So instead of digging through endless contact us screens, and we care about your business screens, trying to get to somebody that will actually help you, guess what? This number takes you straight to dear old Cheryl, who's going to help you with the problem. But could you install our scanner app, honey, so I can see what the problem is? Just give me your email and I'm going to send you a link, darling. Then you can watch your stories while I fix it, okay? Malwarebytes and some other security apps will detect this apparently, but you may want to warn everybody and be real careful out there. That is the news. Next week, we'll be on location in Frankfurt am Main, Hesse, Deutschland. And I'll have Russ as a guest. So I'll see you there.